right, let's go ahead and get started this evening. Welcome to Melissa, who's already here. Thank you for showing up. And tonight, I want to have kind of an impromptu, kind of a fun little evening. And so many people have asked, you know, why am I using, I don't have it up. Why am I using my paints over here, my M. paints? Why don't I use a certain paint? Do I use Koi watercolors? Do I use Holbein? Do I use Mission? Do I use Daniel Smith? What watercolor paper do I use? All kinds of things. I thought tonight would just be a fun get together. I could pull out some art supplies. I've kind of tried to reorganize the studio to make it a little bit better for me, and I thought it would be fun to show everybody some of what I've got going on here. So with that, hello, fun stuff. With that, I want to get started a little bit. I've got a little bit of a different setup, as you can see. I don't plan on doing any real amount of painting tonight, so off to my right where I would normally have my paints, well, my paints are still there and my camera is still there, but I've turned my paint cam off, and I've turned what would normally be, I don't know, here or here, my reference photos off because I don't have one. Andrea's here too. Hello, Andrea. And I thought that we would just have some fun with it. Okay, so in order to do this, I'll show you a little bit around the studio as we get going, but I've done a quick little drawing of this. And I thought we could start in one area of the studio and kind of work my way around. And so let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to pull my camera down a little bit more. Hopefully we can get in just close enough to see what I'm talking about. So I've got my display case over here behind me, and I just noticed my picture is actually backwards. It's over here. I'm reaching with the wrong hand. And I've got large papers, artwork to sell listed in there, and you can kind of see it there in the corner. And below that I have boxes of reference photos and old artwork that maybe we could get some of those out, and I'll show you how I keep all my reference photos, or how I should be keeping my reference photos. Then I've got two big cabinets here, right, that are full of different types of paper and palettes and whatnot. On top of that, I think you can just see right there is a whole thing of brushes. We can go through those. Anne-Marie, bonjour. Melissa was watching Glee. You think, and fun stuff, you think the storms of hail are done for. Holy cow. Right behind me, there you can see it, I've got a tool chest, and that's filled up with all kinds of stuff. I've got them listed here, right? Paints at the top, electronics, palettes, pencils, stamps, paper, cards, all kinds of stuff. Then over here, I've got some books that we can look at or whatnot. So I just thought it would be a little fun, and maybe we can kind of do this organically. We could just take a little look at some of these, and I just kind of go around the room to see what's here. But first of all, before I do this, this is going to bother me. So I have to. Oops, cancel. I have to change this this cam around just a moment, because let's see, if I flip it this way, that's not right. That's better. How about if I flip it the other way? There we go. Now that way is that way, and that way is that way, and everything right. I wish I had enough supplies to fill a chest. Okay, so I'm just looking back here. I'm going to start with a big find that I had Oh, wow. It's probably 3 or 4 years ago. I went to an estate sale, and the woman who had passed was a watercolor artist. And that really was the reason I went to the estate sale, to see what she had there. I actually bought, I think, the display that everything's sitting in, and all these papers, and a whole bunch of paints, and all kinds of stuff. And so I want to show you the paper that I got from there first. And honest to God, it's such good paper. It's such big paper that I'm not exactly sure what to do with that. But here it is. I've got it in my big, giant, purple thing. And so I've got in here, right, what are probably some standard sheets of watercolor paper. Let me get these up here so everybody can see them. They're hot pressed watercolor paper. I've actually got a few more of these in here. If I can get them out, there they are. Lots of sheets of this. They're all hot pressed. I believe they're all arches. I need to set this down. I won't be able to reach into it. And quite honestly, I don't like hot pressed paper. So I don't have any idea what I'm going to do with these. And you can see, well, I don't know what's up with this one in here, but they've all have this deckled edge around them. If you can see that, let me get them somewhere where you probably can see. There they go. They've all been torn with this deckled edge around them. And I probably have 10 of these. And I should say, I'm hoping that this is going to kind of build as the night goes on. So if we need to do something or play with some of these, we can. And I've got probably, look at this sheet, right? I don't know how big this is. 18 by 30, maybe 24. But you can see just from the camera, it's super, super rough paper. I'm not even sure this is made by a big manufacturer. I think it's just regular cotty paper, but it's so textured. Look, I'm sure you can see it in the camera there. It's super textured. So I'm not sure what to do with this. I'm trying to look on the corners to see if there's a mark, and there's not a mark. I probably have, well, about 10 of these sheets. If I can get this back in, I don't want anything to happen to these sheets of paper. Okay. And then these are the real prize that I've got. I'll see if I can hold this up far enough back so you can see it. 24 by 36 sheet of arches. Watercolor paper. It's so big it just takes up the whole screen there. This is actually the top of it, I guess. Is that 300? Oh, the old paper is the old paper, 300-pound paper. Okay, so I don't know what that paper is. That old paper that's super textured. It's just some kind of handmade cotty paper, and I don't know what it is. There's no mark on it anywhere. Like this paper has in the corner up here an arches mark, so I know that this is arches. It feels like 140-pound paper to me. I don't know if you could even see it in the corner. Here is, now you can't see it. But I bought these, honest to God, I bought these for $2 a piece. And I've probably got a dozen of these. But they're so big. I don't want to tear them because, well, just because. And then I've got a couple of these big, this is a Strathmore 400 series paper. I know it is because it's still got a stamp on it. And it's cold press. paper. Oh, it's got a nice watermark here in the corner that you might be able to see. Here it says Strathmore 400 Bristol. It's Bristol paper. And I got a couple of these that they just threw in. But that's my super big, super secret art paper. But I haven't used any of it because it's so big. I've been afraid to tear it. I've been, I don't want to cut it because I know a lot of people have this thing about cutting watercolor paper, and I don't want to tear it because it's such a beautiful giant sheet of paper that I don't want to do that. Whoops. Here's my display of where we've been, right? So these are my large papers that are stored over there. And in addition to these large papers, I've got a couple of others, right? I've been using these. I bought, I don't know, 4 or 5 books of these a couple of years ago. I think I'm going to need to raise this up a little bit now, right? And these are my Pro Art papers. Nothing special about them, but I haven't used them all. And this one I have used. Oh, there, look. See? I've got a, I don't know, a little scene from sitting down by the rock. Did this plein air. Really rudimentary, but this is Canson paper, right? I've got that. Like I said, these are all my large papers. So I've got this giant sheet of Arches Rough that I don't know what to do with. You can see it's still got the wrapping on it. I haven't ever taken it out. And quite honestly, this is 11 by 16. And this to me is a little frightening in the size of it. But I've got that. And, well, this one's not really larger. And this is one that I will never, ever use again. I don't know if anybody has used what if you tape off a large triptych on the large paper so there's space between each and no cutting? I could do that. I'd have to take up my whole desk to do that, but I could do that. Here's some watercolor paper. I was just testing some stuff out. I just bought some random paper to test it out. You'll see some other random paper that I have throughout here. And this is Grumbacher. I actually like the Grumbacher paints for a student grade paint. I think they're fantastic. The paper as a student grade paper, I don't know if anybody uses it. I think it's abysmal. And a couple more of these. And I think that is about all of the large papers that I have back there. I've got a larger sheet of Strathmore 400 series, but not anything exciting. And I guess before we get to all of the exciting stuff, the more exciting stuff that I think is over here, I'm going to pull out, I've got a box over here of my reference photos, and just let me grab this. Here it is. And I think I told you guys before that if I ever need a reference photo, I've got so many photos, I can grab my references and thumb through. Oh, there's the green machine I did. There's some chili peppers, right? And I've got something for everything in here, right? Oh, there's the robin we did not long ago, and there's the fries I did, right? But I've got, I've got this entire, let's see if I can pull this out here. I've got this entire thing. Here's some pumpkins. If I ever want to do a pumpkin or a bunch of pumpkins, I've just got a wealth of reference photos that if I ever need something, I can grab one or two or a dozen photos or so. Oh, there's some fish and a cow and a leopard, and throw them on there. So anytime when I'm out in the studio, and I think I need something. Oh, some beautiful cone flowers. Oh, that's nice. I like those. Some iris, more cone flowers. Iris. There's a succulent. Anyways, so just through the years, as I've seen something I like, stay. I print it out. You definitely recognize a lot of these. I think you would recognize a lot of these. But look, I've got just gobs of them in here. And, whoops, I was going to say, some of these are larger ones that I did last year. I don't know if I ever painted fudgicles. I think I did. I did that one. I've got some surfboards in here, but some larger pictures too. These are 11 by 17. Oh, I think everybody has seen. I did that one last summer and whatnot. So I've got these, and then I've also got at least a couple of boxes of old photos. Oh yeah, here's the public ashtray I did that I don't know if you can see, but there's actually glitter on the there you can kind of see it. There's glitter on the cigarette packs. And here's a test at it that I did. I don't know, some old pictures that I've painted that that I think would be fun to do. Oh, here's some more reference photos. Whoops. Some of these I've painted in videos, and I don't have a good place for them. Some wrenches that I've done. This old truck is in some state of disrepair here. It's not quite done. I've got more reference photos over here. Wow. Those are in the wrong spot. Some poppies, more poppies. Anytime, that's the glitter. That is the glitter I was talking about. Anytime I want to paint a poppy or a can or something, I've got these here. This old guy I painted when I tried to do portraiture. Thought he turned out okay. And some even older paintings. Right, here's some Japanese style painting, right? Old mountain. I even signed it. I don't know if that is my name at all or not. All right, some musical instruments here. And this is, oh gosh, this is 15 years old. I remember doing this one. I was 15 years old. A couple of other ones, some that I've got probably on the backs of them. You'll see lots of stuff like that. Some stuff on the front. Oh, here's some tests on the back of a sheet here. So anytime I don't want to burn a full sheet of brand new paper, I just pull one of these out and go on the back side of it. I guess I've got this. This is Fabriano hot press paper. Quite honestly, I'm not sure where I've gotten this, but this is hot press paper, and the mountains, it reminds you of Manoa. That painting, the one that reminds you of Moana, that's actually Bora Bora. My wife and I went there. This is how I know exactly when it was painted. My wife and I went there on our honeymoon. I took this little puck of watercolor paints and 2 little tiny travel brushes, and I can get those out and show you. We'll get to them as we go along. And I sat on the deck of our little hut and painted those. I've got these 2 things here, which are just clear overhead projector things. And I've drawn some lines on these. and they're just a drawing aid, right? I could lay this over top of whatever I'm working on. Maybe it would look better on this sheet of paper, right? I can lay this over top of that, draw a basic grid pattern on my watercolor paper, and then makes it a lot easier to draw with. Golden, you didn't know I'd be streaming today, or you'd have been streaming at certain times on certain days, or just whenever. Have I been streaming? I've been streaming here on YouTube on Wednesday nights for about 2 years now. Is that right? About 2 years? A year and a half? A long time, anyways. And then I stream on Twitch. And I will say, tonight we are only on YouTube. The whole Twitch on Wednesday thing, the rebroadcast, wasn't working out for me all that well. So I switched. I'm only going to do Twitch streams on Twitch, and I'm only going to do YouTube streams on YouTube from now on, or for the immediate future anyways, for as long as I can foresee into the future. And that's just how it's going to be. Okay, stay. All right, hold on one second. Stay. I can take care of this. Ha! Painter's tape. You've only been watching about 6 months. Sorry to have missed out on the full 2 years. It's not a big deal. We're going to hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be doing this for years to come on YouTube. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people and the camaraderie here on YouTube. It's funny how it's a different feel here and on Twitch. Each have its benefits, and maybe each have its little bit of detractors too, but I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to try to keep going on both. Okay, so now if you were to ask me, that's kind of all the boring stuff out of the way in the studio. All right, we've gone over part of the side here. And I guess I can turn this camera a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. I do have, some other little things stuffed here and some stuff in boxes down here. Actually, the boxes on the bottom are all eBay stuff. I do all of my eBay out of my studio also. But that's most of, let's go right back to here. That's most of everything in that corner, with the exception of my old paint brushes. So I'm a little reticent to get rid of these because from time to time I do screw up in a painting, and I've got these little stamping brushes. They're made out of hog bristle and they're really stiff, right? It's like a little stippling brush you could hit down like that. So I think I've used some of these to tap in trees with, like that in watercolor, and I've got some smaller ones in here, like this one that I know I have used to lift out a little bit of color, just because you can get into a very specific spot and get that out. And then a lot of either old brushes or ones I don't really like anymore. This one is all gummed up. I used it to put on some masking fluid at one point in time. This one, I think my daughter had used. It busted a bunch of the bristles here. I don't know what's going on with these ones. These are watercolor pencils, but anyways, just some old brushes hanging around. What do I do on eBay? I do whatever I need to do to make the mortgage on eBay. Whatever I can find to resell anywhere, because that's kind of what I have to do. Do you sell off supplies on eBay? I don't sell supplies on eBay. Just because I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to sell supplies on eBay. I'm not sure I would get out of it what I think the supplies are worth, and so I don't do that. And any supplies that I don't use, if they sit around here for too long and I don't use them, typically I will give them to my kids' friends, my kids and my kids' friends. I donated a whole bag of supplies to my son's school at one point in time, so the kids could do watercolor painting, and they had tube paints and cake paints, or pans, and they all had brushes and paper. So I do that. I typically don't sell art and that kind of stuff on eBay. I have a lot of paint. You can sell something to me. Funny you said paint. Let's get some paints out, Mrs. T. Let's take a look at them. Paints are in here. Whoop. And you're going to like the paints. Here they are. Some of them, anyways. Stay. This is where my table does not really help. Maybe I even need to go a little bit further out with this and see what we can do. So this one here, I need to move some of these up for just a minute. Come on, you guys are all sliding down. This one is my Bucket O M-gram paints, right? And quite honestly, I'm really frugal, right? I don't like to spend money. I don't. I do if I have to, but I don't like to. And most of these, right? This one says, this is Azo Orange, 50% off. Where's it going to? Right there, 50% off. Right, I've probably got a whole bunch more of those. Here's one, 50% off, 50% off, 50% off. Somewhere is the tag. There it is. I mentioned that I work at a university, and the university has a bookstore, and the bookstore used to carry only M-gram watercolor paints, and they would have a sale for whoever once a year. Typically it's faculty and staff, but it's usually during the summer after the students have all gone home. So it's faculty and staff, they can come in and they can buy things 20, 30, 40% off sometimes. And the students can't come in and swoop up all of those deals. So I will bet you the vast majority of these, and I probably got 40 different colors, would be my guess here. Does that look like maybe 40? The vast majority of these I got for probably half off. And so, I didn't pay that much for them. And most of these are, at this point, 5, 6, 7 years old. I just don't use, there's such high quality paints, I don't use them all that much to burn through that many. So I've got all of these, and these are what I have in my big palette. But in addition to that, I've got, well, they're all a little mixed up now because I just got in and played with them all. The art sale, here's a special one. I'm going to tell you about this one in a second. The estate sale where I bought the paper that I got from back there, I probably bought most of these other ones at. Right, all of the Windsor Newton ones. Right, there's a ton of these little 5 milliliter Windsor Newton ones in here. Right, there are a few. Here's a Sennelier, right, Antwerp blue one in here. there were some of these other colors in here. Grumbacher's Finest Burnt Sienna. I got all of these, and the ones from this one too, from that estate sale. And they were just in a big bucket. And I just went, I'm not sure what's in there. I'll take the bucket. So let's see. I never, Mrs. T, I pray before I go into Goodwill that there will be some good paints. There's never good paints at Goodwill. I've noticed that. My college decided they were losing money, so they stopped selling art-related products. Yeah, unfortunately, mine has stopped that now too. And Melissa says, I just filled an entire Tupperware container with paints. Wow. Crack open another container full. So I got most of these at that estate sale. Now, all of these Grumbacher Academy paints, and there are a lot of them in here. All right, let me do it. Let me do this. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. I can tell by the size. Here's one. Here's one. There are a lot of them in here, and they're all weirdo colors, right? Van Dyke Brown. Here's a Van Dyke Brown. There's probably 10 Van Dyke Browns in here. Here's a Van Dyke Brown. What's this one? Oh, this is Vermilion. These I got all from the bookstore. I used to know the manager there, and they sold these before they sold the M. Graham paints. So these are really old. These are probably 20-year-old paints. And they were just going to throw them out because they couldn't sell them anymore. And so they went, well, we know you paint. We've seen your stuff. If you want them, take them. If you don't want them, we're going to throw them out. And I went, I'll take them. And so I did. And so I have some colors that really I wouldn't use all that much, but I have them in here nonetheless. Here's another Van Dyke Brown. I'm telling you, here's a Scarlet Lake and a Scarlet Lake and a Scarlet Lake and a Vermilion and a Scarlet Lake next to it. So they're all, lots of the same colors in here. But having said that, it's nice to have a lot of this. Let's see. Michael, please count all of your tubes and report to us the exit number you have. Oh my God. That is something for another night. I'll bring a 6-pack back here and sit down here and start counting tubes of paint. I don't know. Holy cow, if I could even get through them all. And then you all know I have a palette that has Holbein watercolors in it. So of all my Holbein watercolors that didn't get used to fill that palette, I put them in here. So I've got a few extra Holbeins in here. And then I went out and I bought a bunch of these Daniel Smith ones. Let me put one here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh, I'm pulling stuff all over the place. A bunch of Daniel Smith paints. Here's one. Here's one. Here's a couple of them. They're supposed to be ocean-y-ish colors. Oh, maybe I should have done it this way. Right? So they're supposed to be ocean-y-ish colors. And I've got, I don't know how many of these do I have. I bought them in a lot on eBay. So I don't even know how many of these I have. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. I bet there's 12. I bet there's another one floating around here somewhere of Daniel Smith paints. Right? And they're fantastic paints. I just haven't put them together in one palette yet. What color ranges do I mostly go for? Mostly I go for colors that I can use that remind me of where I live, right? I don't typically use, right? I wouldn't typically use a Scarlet Lake. Oh, I got a magnesium green. That's a nice looking color. I might use that, right? I wouldn't typically use, I don't know, whatever else is in here, some other colors. But it's kind of, let me get this, right? These are the M. Graham colors that are in my palette now, right? And the cobalt green and the olive green are two that really are around here, right? The maroon perylene and the sepia, really, I see a lot of those colors around here. And then cerulean, cobalt, and turquoise, great for water and sky. The phthalo blue and the phthalo green are great for mixing, and the rest are just fun to have. So I don't tend to have crazy colors in my palette or anything that's really out of control, but I leave stuff in there that I think will help me paint what I see around me, and I've really been trying to paint those things that are in and around where I live recently. Let's see, speaking of a Holbein, I'm considering buying gouache from that company. Do I ever use gouache? Lisa, unfortunately, the only gouache that I have used is right here. Right? And, oh, that's not true. That is not true. Why there's a penny in this, I don't know. But I have used a red gouache. I don't even know what color it is. A cad yellow gouache and a cad red gouache here, in addition to my bright white gouache. Those are the only three colors of gouache that I have ever used, and I don't know anything about the Holbein's gouache. I like the Holbein watercolors. I think I talked about it last stream or 2 streams ago. In general, I like their watercolors. I just wish they didn't have so many 3 mix paints in their line. 2 mix paints I'm fine with. I don't have a problem. 3 mix paints, it's a bit much for me, and I don't know why they have so many 3 mix paints there. Like, do I ever use gouache? Looks so interesting to use. Gouache does look interesting to use. I've always been curious about it, but I've never really gotten into it. Okay, but I've got this tube here that I told you was really interesting. So I have one palette that I have what I believe to be my Impressionist watercolors in. If you were an Impressionist watercolorist in and around the turn of the century, not the last one, not the 2000, but 1900, you probably had these colors in your palette. And I decided to put them together. And so I ran out of them. Holy cow, Melissa, you have 101 in one container and 39 in another. Wow. That's a lot of watercolor paints. So I have this, anyways, I have this cobalt blue. And this is part of the estate sale that I bought. But you see I've got some tape taped on here, right? It's because this is so hard and dried out that I couldn't get any paint out of it. So I cut it off and took the paint out that way. And let me show you what I did with it. So here's my palette of my Impressionist watercolor paints. And you can see, let me do it this way. You can see the colors that they are there. Stay. Come on. All right, 1 second. I've got some tape hanging here for just such a reason. Stay. And stay. I've got the paper underneath I don't want to tape to. Okay. So here are my Impressionist colors. Right? They may not be exactly right, but they're going to be close. But my cobalt blue over here is from that little tube. And I did this. I cut it out, put the big chunks in this tray, And then, can you see that? Put some gum arabic on top of it with a little bit of water and let it sit there. And now it's not super smooth. It's a little chunky still. Maybe you can see it. See, you can see how smooth this one next to it is. But this one doesn't have that smooth texture. It's still a little hard, and it needs a little bit more of that gum arabic in there. But the gum arabic soaks into it and softens it and lets it sit there. So if you ever see any watercolors out and about and you like the color or you want to try them or something like that, buy the tube of watercolor paint. That gum arabic here, this thing cost me, I don't know, $6. And that will probably last me 10 years or more. I'm probably a quarter of the way down with this, and I've had it for 2 or 3 years. And you can drop this onto your paint and it will bring it back to life. Give it some semblance of softness and whatnot. You can actually even do that with regular paint, right? These are all, they're super hard. Whoa, maybe not, that one's not hard. Most of them are hard because they're Windsor Newton paints. But you can actually put some of this gum arabic on there, right? Put it in the tray, close this up, let it sit for a couple of days. It will all soak in and your paints will be a lot softer. Let's see. I only have Hemi gouache. I heard of it. I heard if you dry it out, it resets just like watercolors, but mine is still wet a month later. I don't know. I don't know about gouache. I would assume that this would be the same, re-wetting your gouache, just the same as it is with watercolors. Because it's gouache, I don't know if they use a different pigment and if they use a different binder in there, but I know this is the binder that most companies use. Now, M. Graham, Mission Gold, and Daniel Smith, all in addition to the gum arabic, will also put honey in with their watercolors, and that's what allows it to be re-wetted so quickly. But let's see. Melissa, I bought 127 watercolor pencils from Arteza, and they aren't worth it. Yes. I will say one thing about Arteza. Don't buy anything from them. That's it. I've tried a little bit of their paint. Did they send me paint? They sent me paint, and it was horrible. And I have a friend who tried the paint and their paper, and it was horrible. And they sent her a thing of their premium paper to test out, and it was horrible. They're just a really low grade art company. There's, for the price that you pay, there's so many better ones out there. Let's see. Some gouache stays wet longer, more so if you close the lid. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about gouache. But since we're talking about palettes, and I know everybody wants to see all my palettes, let's jump down to some palettes. And this is my Holbein set of paints here. And what this constitutes everything I have left from the set of 24 of Holbein, save the little bits that are in the top drawer over there for in with the rest of the paint. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I count that one? 6 or 7. I don't know if I counted it. So a third of this set of 24 has 3 different color mixes in these, and that's my problem with Holbein. The paints themselves are actually wonderful paints, and when you use the single pigmented or the 2 pigmented paints, they work wonderfully. This is my Meeden watercolor tin. I don't get anything for this, but this is a great tin. 24 full pans or 48 half pans, and this comes out. And I love this tin. I have several of these, and this is a fantastic tin and a ton of mixing space on these. If you like a lot of mixing space, let me grab a couple of more while I'm over here. Here's another one of those tins. Come on. This one opens up, and this one is my Mission Gold set of paints. And here's my color card for that, so you can see what they all are. And I don't know what they have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So okay, they have a quarter of theirs. Man, I really need to clean this off. This is the set of 24 Mission Gold paints that you would buy, again, in that same tin. And you can see these colors, very bright, very vibrant. The colors re-wet really nicely. A ton of pigment in there. The only one thing I have to say about this is their ultramarine blue is weird. Right? Their colors are different than other colors, and that's fine. I understand that each manufacturer wants to make their colors their own. But if you look here, you see a shine here. And if you look here, you see there's shine on that. And if you look here, it's just like a hole. Their ultramarine blue does not have any shine to it at all. And I can't for the life of me figure out why it's so dull, and all of the others of theirs are great. Mrs. T, did you buy your gouache so typically golden? It was a set. Okay, well, okay, so you guys are talking about different stuff you bought. Okay, so there's that one. Then here is a set. This is the Pro set of Winsor Newton paints. You buy this as the set of 24. It comes in this tin, right? They're 24 half pans, same kind of deal. Maybe you take the tray out and you can make this 12 full pans or 24 half pans if you want. Here are the colors that they are. It's a nice set, except for it's Winsor Newton paint, which means basically, I'm sorry if anybody uses Winsor Newton and they like Winsor Newton, but their paints dry to roughly the hardness of concrete. And unless you run these under Niagara Falls for about an hour before you use them, they're not really going to soften up. That's the only problem I have with Winsor Newton. Other than that, I do like the colors they have. I like the vibrancy they have. I like the amount of pigment they have in there. I just wish that they weren't the consistency of concrete. So there's that. This tin is one of the first ones I put together, and it's changed over the years. So all of those colors that you saw in my M-gram bin, when I first got them, I just jammed them into here. And as a result, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blues in here. And I don't know what in the world I would need 6 blues, especially given that 3 of them are pretty close to the same to use. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 greens. I don't know. But I used this set for a long time. Actually, I took a green out here. I like this green. This is light green. And this is from Gogh Watercolor. And this is a good opportunity to take a look and see the difference between a student grade watercolor, which this is, and you can see it's cracked in the side here, or maybe you can see if I raise it up, it's cracked in the side and it looks chalky and cakey and everything. And then you've got these wonderful glossy M-gram paints next to it, right? This one just had more filler and more what is it, guar gum, xanthan gum? Gum arabic. Had more gum arabic in it, and it's dried out. And these have more pigment and only a little bit of the other stuff in it. And no fillers in these. So that's kind of the difference, and it's pretty stark when you open this up to take a look at it. Can't have too many blues. Yeah, you can have a lot of blues. That's for sure. So I referenced the discs that I took to Bora Bora on my honeymoon with me. Here they are. These are them. And I think these are Gogh watercolors. And in fact, I've got some other ones. Maybe not. I don't know what these ones are. These are similar. But these ones came afterwards. But I've got a couple of these round palettes of watercolors. And the kids and I used to sit on the kitchen floor and paint with these, and you'd go, what color do you want? I want blues, and you would just slide over this disc that has all the blues on it, and that was kind of fun. Never got a whole lot of use after that. And it wouldn't be watercolors if you didn't have some of these cool Prang watercolors. So I've got a set of these that I don't really use, but I look at them every time and I go, oh, I love these. They bring back such memories more than anything. All right, and here's a set I put together for my daughter when she comes out to paint with me. And so these are hers. They have her name on them, and she picked out these colors and put them in there. So while I have this in my set, maybe they don't really count, right? This is you love Prang. You started out with them. Prang, they're great paints. All right, so this is one of the first real outdoor travel sets that I got, palettes that I got. This is from Shy's Art. And Shy's Art has these things custom printed. And if you were to look online and buy this tin, right, they make one just about like this out of brass. It's got $300, $400, $500, $600 depending upon what you want. And this has in it the same colors as my Impressionist set of paints, only it comes in this cool little travel set. This is called the Winged Palette. And it's got these giant mixing wells in there, and it all folds up into this little thing. And this little thing is so strong that you could twist it and bend it and stand on it, and you are never ever going to hurt this thing. This is bulletproof. So if ever I go to take my watercolors out with me, and I think there they go. It's a little hard to get open. You got to kind of push up from the other side rather than reach in from the top. And I think, well, there's a chance I'm going to end up dropping it somewhere or doing something with it, and I'm worried about the palette. This one goes with me because it's pretty much indestructible. And then it just folds up, clips into this little thing. So I really love this. It's like a transformer. It is kind of like a transformer. It's so cool. But there's more in here. I don't even know where to get into these. All right, this is okay, so this one is a Winsor Newton set that doesn't have Winsor Newton paints in it. Right? Oh, it's got a couple. This one looks to be Winsor Newton. That one looks to be Winsor Newton. But I know these paints over here, and these are Van Gogh paints that are in here. I really like the Van Gogh paints for student grade paint. And I like this palette because it folds up and it's easy to hold like that in your thumb if you're on the go. There's enough, it's not a ton of space, but there's enough space that you can mix whatever you want to in here. So I like this palette, and I like the Van Gogh paints. I don't use them so much anymore, but I've got that. And then I've got this one, which is a Daler Rowney little case, which is adorable. It's got a little ring on the bottom of it that you can slide your finger through to hold it like that. And this one has Winsor Newton paints in it. Don't ask me why. I've got this one has Winsor Newton paints in it, but it does. And it's a cute little thing. There's nothing remarkable about it other than it's got that cute little ring on the bottom. These ones, this one's got Winsor Newton paints in it also. I got quite a few of these. Just a basic little tin. I saw them, but they're expensive. I spent over $100 on paints and shipping for overseas. I don't know to order them again. Melissa, if you've ordered what was so expensive? What was over $100? Okay, and then this palette is, I don't even know what's in this one. These are Angora paints, and quite honestly, I'm not sure what the color combo is here or why I have this, but I do know that this one used to be in the back of my car for a long time. It looks like an egg carton. It does kind of. This one was in the back of my car for a long time. It makes me wonder which one is in the back of my car now. I think I have one that has some Holbein paints in it in the back of my car now. Whoa. You already saw that I had painted some glitter paints on some cigarette packs. So here are my glitter paints. It's just a cheap set from Michaels. But they're fun to paint with. And I'll pull these out. You probably have seen me use these, or you may have seen me use these around the holidays. If I need to paint some glitter or something sparkly, just pull these out. And I've got a small and a large set of Angora watercolors, which I will never use. You love those sparkly paints. The sparkly paints are great, except for they really mess up your water. Your water's got sparkle in it, and then each time you rinse it, you get a little less sparkle and a little less sparkle, and then your brushes have sparkle in it for weeks, but whatever. I know people who love the Angora paints. The colors are weird in here. They're not the same color on the page that you see in here, and it makes them a little hard to use. My wife got these for me. I'm not sure. Somebody gave me these when we were dating, and I used them for a while and then moved on to different paints. And don't tell her that I don't ever use them anymore, because I don't want her to know. And oh, look, I've got some more metallic paints here and a single thing of prang paints, which it looks as though my daughter has been using because it looks like a mess. And here's some prang metallics. I guess I forgot I had these in there. So some more metallic paints. You can't have too much glitters. You know what? Sometimes that's right. You can't have too much glitter. And I've got, this is one thing here that I have never tried, that I always want to try, and I might do a watercolor video, or a watercolor video. Of course it's going to be a watercolor video, but a video on this just in itself. I don't know where this came to me or how I got this, but I've had this for a long time, and this is a very old set, or somewhat old set. Oh, I guess it's not that old. Set of colors, and you turn to whatever page you want. Okay, here you go. Here's orange yellow on this page. It tells you about the paint on this side. Then what you do is you take this, you tear a small bit off, you drop it in water, the pigment releases from this page, and then you have water. That's the color of whatever you want. Here's Royal Crimson, and I don't know if you can see, it looks kind of like it's been painted on there somehow. Peerless are fun. You've used these, Natalie? a few years ago, they were popular with card makers. I had no idea. I've never tried it. I've always woo, don't fall out of there, Sky Blue. I've always wanted to try it and just never gotten around. It's one of those things I got. Where I got it, I don't even know. I have no idea where it came from. I just remember looking at it one day, and I've never done it, and I've always wanted to. And maybe this will be a video at some point where I test these out. These were popular with. Natalie, never saw them dropped in water though. Just pick up the color with a wet brush. I guess you could do that. I saw a video where they took and cut little squares off and dropped them in, the little palettes that have the little circles in them, the little divots. They dropped them in there and used them that way. I guess you could just blend them out with a brush, but it doesn't look like whoever has torn this before did it that way. It looks like they tore the pieces off and did something with them. But I'm gonna try these out. I read that originally Peerless was created to color black and white photos. Oh, that's interesting. And you don't believe that they are light fast. I can't believe that these would be light fast. But whatever. Doesn't matter. They're a novelty that I haven't seen before. So I've got these. And just if you're feeling a little bit nostalgia, check these out. These are my Artista watercolors from Binney and Smith, and this is, look at this, super old, and they've never been used so far as I can tell. And I've got the original brush that's in it. Whoops, maybe I should put it on screen. There you go. The original brush that's in this. Feels like camel hair. It's Binney and Smith, so I can't imagine it's a great hair brush, and it's just a plastic thing. But this would have been a kid's toy, just like the Prang ones are now, but years ago. Oh, Michelle's here. There's another artist who created another set like Peerless as well. Oh, interesting. Joe Shadow says your grandfather had one of these. This was always cool. My wife found this one. We were at a thrift store one day, and she went, "Hey, have you ever seen one of these before?" And I went, "No, but I'm going to see one in my future because it's coming home with me." Okay, so that's all the paints, I think. Oh, that's not all the paints I have. All right, so I have no idea where this came from, and I know this says fine artist quality watercolors. I know this is not artist quality watercolors, but it's also not open, right? These are Richardson watercolors, and these ones probably are on the way to my son's school. Michael has an amazing studio with a gazillion supplies. And, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Again. And these paints were actually sent to me by Meaden at one point in time. And they wanted me to review these for them and let them know what I thought of them. And they are, well, they're in the bottom tray. of my art, the bottom bin of my art supplies, and I think you know why they're in the bottom bin, because they're low grade student quality paints, and those will probably find their way to my son's studio. And here's the rest of, I knew I had them here somewhere. Here's the rest of my Mission Gold set. They didn't make the top bin with everything else because I still have enough that I can leave them in the container here. Maybe that way would look a little bit better. I can leave them in the container I think maybe next time I have to fill up my palette with these. I'll lose a few of them. Right, sap green's a little low. Van Dyke brown, yellow ochre's a little low. Ultramarine. So some of these will go away, and then they'll make their way into the top bin with the odds and ends of everything else. But for now, it's a full set, so they get to stay here. Let's see. I like Turners. I'll have a whole palette dedicated to this. I see. I've never tried Turner paints. I've been told Turner has good paints, and what I've seen is they look okay, but I've never tried Turner paints. I've always been told by my family and friends that I have too many art supplies, and yet I feel I don't come close to the amount many artists have. You probably don't. You know, lots of artists have lots of supplies, because you end up using them for so many different things. Okay, so let's move on to brushes. Here you go, and here are my brushes. And I can tell you basically the history of all of these brushes, right? When I first started watercoloring, I'll tell you, I bought these Windsor & Newton University brushes. I couldn't tell you which ones exactly. But I like these. These were a good quality, still are a good quality synthetic brush. I don't have any problem with them. I'm not sure they still make these anymore, at least in this fashion anymore. But these are good brushes. I like them. I still pull them out every now and again, but not so much anymore. Let's move on to these. I've got another one or two of these in here somewhere, but I can demonstrate with just these two. These are Connoisseur brushes, and I don't know who mentioned it, that you never found good brushes in a thrift store, or good art supplies in a thrift store. I was in our local thrift store, one of our local thrift stores here, and I saw, I believe it was this brush, and this is a Sable mix, and I went, a Sable brush at this thrift store? Why would that be here? What's going on? Well, I went up and they were asking $1 or some such thing as that, and I went, okay, for $1 I'll buy. I'll take a look at it, and I tried it out, and they're actually nice brushes. They're not fantastic brushes, but they're nice brushes. And that's not to say anything bad about them. And then I came to find out that our local community college carries these, the whole line of these Connoisseur brushes, and you can get them, you know, from a 0 or a 00 up to, you know, huge, and they're at the community college, anyways. They're fairly reasonably priced. I don't have anything bad to say about them. I don't have anything really good to say about them. They're fine brushes. But if you're going to get just a fine brush, oh, look, I've got two different ones here. I would say go for these. They're cheap. They work. There's no problem with them. These are the snap brushes. Here they are, the Princeton snap brushes. I believe this is a snap brush too. I don't know why this one is a different color. Golden tackle-on and white tackle-on, I suppose. You're jealous of all the stuff I have. Let's see. Oh, Melissa, you started a sample card of Core watercolors and started Julian. Core makes fantastic colors. I don't have any because they're super expensive, but they make fantastic colors. Okay, so here's some nice, simple snap brushes. I've kind of been gifted or gotten or run into, I don't know how many of these Sumi brushes. I see people paint with them on YouTube when I watch from time to time. They're, I don't know what they are, wolf hair and sheep hair on the inside or some such weird thing. That's where they go. For me, back in the bin. I just don't, I don't like them. let's see, I've got this, I'm trying to get these on so you can kind of see some of what I'm looking at here. I've got this entire set here. These are my Princeton round brushes, Princeton Neptune, I should say, round brushes, and they're fine, except for they don't come to any sort of a point. Even the smallest one here, this is a number 2. If you get it wet and look at it, it just comes to a blunt end, and that's frustrating for me. When you want to, if I'm going to use brushes, I want to use all of one type of brush. That's just me, right? If I'm using my rounds over here from my normal set right now, they're all the silver black velvet brushes. I don't want to use one silver and one Davinci and one Grumbacher and one, Windsor Newton, whatever. I don't want them all to be the same. And because I can't get these to be to a point, they're frustrating to me. But I have these, and they are nice to paint with. They do hold a lot of water. And I can't quite force myself to get rid of them. Then I've got a set of these. I've got the smaller brother of this. Is a 6 and an 8, and they're huge. Oops, I got to come down a little bit. 6 and an 8, and they're huge, and they hold a ton of water. These are the Princeton Neptune Squirrel Mop Quill Round Brush, whatever they are. I like them. They hold too much water for me. They hold too much water. You really need to paint on a giant surface, even if you're going to use this brush, which is the number 6. I can't imagine a surface big enough that I would need this number 8. The number 4 brush I have is huge, right? The one I have on my table over here is a 5, and it's dwarfed. Right? It's dwarfed by the size of this 6. They're just so big. So I don't use those. Oops, and I guess I should say I've got this cat's tongue one also that I believe came with my set of rounds for some reason. And I don't believe I've even ever actually used this brush. Right? Okay, so then if we want to move on to a little different type of quill brush, I've got these two from Roubloff, and these ones are, well, these are a Squirrel mix here, and I don't know if I've used these. Let's see. Alan says, I like the Davinci Casaneo one. Let's see. I thought I had a lot of brushes. Nothing compared to mine. I love brushes. I love all my brushes. Most of them I've used, and most of them will find their way onto my painting tray and then back off. These have not. I don't have any good reason for them other than they're huge, and I don't paint anything that big right now. I'm looking for a specific other one here to pull out. Here's one of them. I've got another one of these. This is another Roubloff brush. Come on, I know I've got your little brother in here somewhere. This is a 10. I believe I have a size 4 in here. Here it is. Right there. Oh, it's a size 6. And these are, well, let's see, Kolinsky and synthetic. And these are really nice. They're much stiffer than most quill brushes, and they come to a pretty nice point. I don't know if you can see the point that they come to there. So it's kind of a mix of painting with a traditional round brush and then having the water holding capacity of a quill mop brush. But just doing this, you see, sometimes it breaks a little bit, and you don't always get that good point on them. I like these as a great idea, but I haven't used them. You have seen me use these. I don't know where my other ones. Here's another one right there. These are my Martini brushes. These are Squirrel hair brushes, gray squirrel to be specific. I don't know where the other ones are at. And I very much like these brushes. I do wish that the paint they had used to put their label on them had stayed longer, but it didn't. Lab accident. Hello, welcome. Lisa, your favorite brush by far is the Princeton Neptune Oval Wash. Wow. Princeton Neptune Oval Wash. I don't have that one, but I do have some of these other ones. I've got other ones I've yet to pull out of here. So I've got this whole set. Here's the other ones. These are the Art Secret. These are fake squirrel hair brushes. I've talked about them before on here. Whoops, let me get them in camera. I like these three. I think these three are very nice for an inexpensive quill brush. They're pretty stiff, pretty springy, but hold a ton of water. This one, I don't much care for. Not because it doesn't work, not because it doesn't work well, but for some reason, right, if I get another brush that's, that might be a little too big. Where's the little one? This number 6. That's the same size. Look at how much longer, I don't know if you can see, how much longer the bristles on that Neptune are. It's just something about the way this one looks to me. It's not appealing to use, and so I don't use it all that much. And as long as we're talking about quill brushes, oh, that's a pencil. I've got these, which are from Creative Mark. These are the Danube set of brushes, and I've got the other one in here somewhere. I've got a set of 3 of these. Where are you hiding? Well, anyways, you'll have to take my word for. Oh, there it is, right there. I've got a set of 3 of these, a 6, a 10, and a 14. I got these on a sale from Jerry's Art-A-Rama. This is the only thing I've ever bought from Jerry's Art-A-Rama. And I wanted to really like these. I think they look great. They feel nice. It's a plastic handle, so it's a little light. It doesn't have quite the same feel in your hand that other brushes have, but I like these. And the only thing I don't like about them is, and I don't know if you can see, you can even see it here, the tip curls over. The tip curled over on this one and on this one. You can just maybe see it there, and it really turned me off on those brushes. I haven't used them since. Where did I get that brush tray? I got this brush tray at a thrift store for like $2, something like that. Then I took a flyer on these. I've got one more. Here it is. These are the Windsor Newton Cotman set of small round brush. I guess there's one flat in here, but a set of brushes. These run about $30, and I believe they are fake Sable, I think. I know they're not a real hair, but I think they're trying to mimic Sable on these, and I like these. I like this small one. I like this one that's a little bit bigger, and I like the flat brush. I'm not going to use them much. I don't love them, but I like them. This one I don't like because it doesn't come to a point. I know it's not a pointed round. It's just a round. It's used a little differently, but it's not how I want to use my round brush. But I will use these if I sit out in the yard and I want to paint something and just doodle or something. I will use these from time to time. So nice brushes there. So far, the brushes I like most are the dagger from Royal and Langnickel and a 4-squirrel brush that I forgot the name of. I used to prefer a brush with snap. Lately, I like a softer brush. Yeah, Lisa, the snap brushes. Snap brushes are great. They're cheap. They're fun to use. Let's see. I've only got one of these. I think this was a tester. This is a Roubloff Squirrel brush. Very similar to the Martini brushes, only the Russian one has a plastic handle. Takes some of the joy out of using it a little bit. I was approached. Oh, look, I've got a snap brush here. It's an angle brush. let's put it back in. I was approached to do some testing from this company. This is Zen Art. And I really wanted to like these brushes. I liked the guy I was working with there. I spoke with the owner of the company. I just wasn't super wild about the brushes. They're fine. Again, I don't have anything wrong with them. They feel a little stubby in your hand, but for what you're going to pay for them, I think they're a fine brush. I'm not going to recommend them to you, but you're probably not going to do too badly with them. And I think some of the last ones I have in here are my Davinci Sable brushes here. Ooh, that one's not. I was going to say that's a Richardson, just a throwaway brush. Whoop, come on. And I don't. Oh, there it is. That's the one that goes in here. Okay. These are, like I said, Davinci brushes. I bought these in a set. I wish the paint would stay on these a little bit longer. But these are nice. I like them. I don't love them. I'm still having a hard time finding brushes that I really love to use other than these. I do love these, and I do love these. Well, let me put, when I say these, let me have only one of these in my hand. So these are my Danish Squirrel mop brushes that you've seen me use a lot of. And these are a Davinci mop brush that I like. Oh, I guess I do have some other brushes I can show you too. How about that? Look. Oh man, they're coming out of everywhere. So here's a little set of travel, a little kit that I have for travel, right? It's got some Princeton Select brushes in it. Here's a little, this is a little Daler Rowney brush, that little plastic set that I had. This little tiny brush came in. If you can hold it, it's so tiny. You can use that. And these were some transom brushes that I bought that were squirrel mop brushes a long time ago, and they're fine. But I like the other ones better. Oh, I don't even know what's in here. Oh, okay. So here's a bunch of the other transom mop brushes. Here are my AIT brushes. I did a review of these on YouTube, and they're fine, except for they don't really come to a point. So I wouldn't ever suggest anybody run out and buy those. Here's some Princeton Select brushes and some Richardson brushes that I'm not sure where I got. Anyways, these are rolled up in a bamboo mat, so I can take somewhere. That's a cool K. Can't keep my eyes open. Natalie, can't keep your eyes open. I'm that exciting. I'm sorry. Okay, so here's some Roubloff brushes, and here's the little brother for that Princeton Neptune. The smallest of the quill brushes, and it's still big, and it holds a ton of water. And then I've got two other quills in here. These are much smaller, and these are by Windsor Newton. And these are really nice brushes. And then this case is really nice because it's got this detachable thing in the middle. It just sticks on by magnet. And then inside this, then I carry some watercolor pencils if I need to do any touch-up work, and some pencils and a pen to do, and an eraser, just in case I need to do anything special with that. So I've got all of that in there. And then, and then I think I said these are my Roubloff brushes that I don't have on a table all the time. I use these. And so these I travel with if I know I'm going to be doing some plein air painting. Now this is nifty. Where did I get this? I don't have any idea. I have no idea where I got this at. But this case is pretty nifty. I like this a lot, and it's got this little guard on it, so that if your brushes are a little damp when it goes in there, they don't get everything else wet, and then it just rolls up and ties. Let's see. And Natalie's gone probably. Natalie, good night if I didn't say it to you. Where can I buy that brush case with the removable case? I think they do sell these on Amazon. I'm sure they sell these on Amazon. I haven't looked for one of these in a long time. God, I'm trying to remember where I did get this from. I probably, like most of the stuff I have here, I've either got it at a thrift store or in a estate sale. And right now I'm doing neither of those things. Just not doing a lot of either of those. What else do I have? I've got, a water pot, collapsible, just in case. So when I need to go out on location, or when I want to go out on location, this folds down and goes in my duffel bag. Really small. I've got some other interesting stuff to show. Lots of pencils. We're just in there. Here's one thing that's really interesting that not everybody will see in a lot of places. I miss thrifting. I miss thrifting too. So this is Bockingford paper, which is, nice paper. I don't think it's the best paper, but it's nice paper. I think it's by Cuthbert Mill, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, look, it's colored. The paper's colored. So if you open it up, right, that's not white. That's off-white, right? And that's a little lighter. I've got some gray paper. And I think there's some green in here somewhere. Maybe if I turn it on end, you can see all the different colors in there. Anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, white, green, cream, gray, and oatmeal colored sheets of paper. Oh, here you can see it. If I do it like that, you can see the different colors of the paper here. So there's kind of cream, I guess, gray, green. That's what they're calling oatmeal. And then cream. Oh, white was in the back, and that's cream. So it's kind of interesting. I haven't figured out a use for it yet. I could use the white paper, of course, but I haven't figured out a use for the rest of this. And this, I will tell you, was an estate sale find. I do know this. Must be way cheaper to make your own. Uh-oh. That's awesome. Colored watercolors. It's really neat. And I've got some other various papers in here, right? I've got some Strathmore 500 of some different sizes in here. Right, different size here than before. Oh, there's some paints that are painted and a flower. And I've got some bigger sheets of this 500 series paper that I didn't like to use 2 weeks ago, and so that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with now. I'll find something to do with it. But these, the two cabinets over there, are where I have almost all of my paper. How do you cut watercolor paper without a cutter? Oh, wait, that's a joke, right? How do I cut it without a cutter? Yes, it's fold and slightly moisten, and then tear it apart. Now I have tons of ideas what to buy next, looking at all these supplies. But wait, I've got more. You haven't seen any paper. You've seen some paper, but watch this one. This one I made. Let's see if I can do this right. So I made this out of a giant sheet of paper so that you can continuously open it like this, like a book, and paint on it. But it's made out of, if you unfurled it, it's made out of one giant sheet of paper. You get the idea. And just folded down the right way to make a travel size book out of. The unfortunate thing, or the nice thing, is that everything on the inside, when you look at it, is the finished side of the paper. So if I turn it around this way, right, which would be the cover, I guess, and open it this way, it's all the back of all of the sheets. It's unfortunate that I'll probably never use this. It's a novelty because this is made out of Canson XL paper, and which is notoriously terrible paper. So I could use it to draw on, but it probably, to paint with, not going to work. Fold one way, then the other way, then tear. That's right. Let's see. Melissa is really loving your silver black velvets. You also have the Escoda Versatile travel brushes. I don't have any. I have one true travel brush and a couple of water brushes. Mrs. T, I was doing a good job of reining myself in until now. Don't go down the rabbit hole. So that's kind of neat. And then in that drawer, I have travel things, travel related things. There's a bug on my book here. This is the Pentalic book for, now this was my trip to Hawaii. I did some paintings in Hawaii on here. Mostly it's undone, but this is my Pentalic book that I use for trips. I've got a Strathmore book in here. Wow, these are really old. This is a this is a picture outside the front of the Humane Society, and a raven and a blue jay and some other stuff. Who knows what? But these are all smaller things. These are some postcards. I was going to sit outside down by the ocean front and paint some postcards and sell them to tourists this summer. But now that we're not really having tourists, I don't know that that's going to work. And I've got some other postcards here, and some other postcards here, and some other postcards here. So I was ready for the summer to get here, but it's kind of on hold. And I've got some cards here that I could draw on or make or watercolor on, right? I'm always looking for these. This came from a thrift store. Just some nice cards. And I've got, actually in the bottom of my tool chest there, I've got a pack of 100. It's probably down to 10 or 20 at this point, but I bought it as a pack of 100 cards, which is what I use to paint all my Christmas cards with and everything every year. What was that? Oh, a whale. And this was a mixed media book. When I used to take the bus to work, every morning I would sit on the bus and I would paint people and things on the bus and then color them in. And so these were some of my bus drawings that I would do. And these are some interesting papers. That's supposed to be me. That's funny. When I was trying to do, oh wow, these are self-portraits, which are terrible. But this is called book finish. You know, we have, well, you have mixed media, and you have watercolor, and you have all kinds of different finishes, hot press, cold press, whatever. This is called book, and it's like super absorbent, and it's a weird, really weird surface to paint on. There's almost no sizing to them. It's a much more like painting on fabric. What did you say? This is these are pretty. You need a journal tour someday. Yeah, I don't know. I got some stuff from the aquarium. When I went to the aquarium, the Monterey Bay Aquarium, there you can see it there. A bat ray. I don't know, it's just some stuff I had fun with. The eel. I made a book of some of the stuff for my son one time. Actually, I think I have another book that I made for him. Here it is. This is a book I made for my son. And this, whoops, maybe it's backwards. These were all medieval siege devices. Right, so catapult, trebuchet, floating arm trebuchet, swords, right? And so when he was of this age where he wanted to see all of these cool things, bows, different types of bows, so I made him this thing of all medieval weaponry, and we sat down and we would go through this, and I would tell him about what each was, and he would tell me what he thought of each. Let's see, I've been making watercolor cards galore since home on furlough. Watercolor cards are fun to make. The thing I like about watercolor cards are that you don't have to make them perfect like you feel like you have to make a painting perfect, because when anybody gets a card, they get it and they open it and they're immediately go, oh my God, you made this yourself, this is fantastic, and they're more appreciative of the fact that you sat down to make something than necessarily the object that is on it. But I do like, I have only a couple of cards in here that aren't watercolor cards, and I've had these for a long time. And I got these as a joke when I had my big handlebar mustache, and so they're just thank you cards. But these are the only cards I think I have that don't have. Oh, here's these are some old Christmas cards, but here are some of the Strathmore cards. There may be 20 of them left that I have. I'll try to hold them up so you can see them. There's a line in the center, so you can fold them, and there's definitely an inside and an outside to them. You fold them over, and they each have their own envelope. And so when I need to paint some, I just pull them out of here and go on with that. You can't find watercolor cards even on Amazon, really? Let's see, in here I've got just a bunch of paper. Whoa, this is Canson Montval paper that I have cut up myself into 9 by 12 that I don't know if I'm going to use. I've got, come on, get off of there. I've got my favorite, look, it's still got this giant curl on it. I got my favorite bee paper here that I can't for the life of me get to uncurl like that. I've got a whole bunch of these little Strathmore spiral bound books here that I've got. Right here was one. This is from, I'll tell you this one. This one was from a store down by the waterfront down here. When I shattered my shoulder, my son would walk down to the waterfront with me every day. I couldn't do much. I had to get out and do something. I was going nuts. So I walked down and I took a picture of it, of this little display, and came home and painted that. But I've got all kinds of stuff in here. A robot up there. She's cute. A beach house. I don't know. There's my house. Cup of coffee. Some seals. All kinds of stuff here. Anyways, a lot of these are already filled up. If you can make a painting look good on Strathmore, you are good. I don't know that mine looked that great on there. See, I've got another one here. It's not quite so filled up. I don't know what's going on with these. A whole bunch of different birds. I have no idea what that is. Some animals. Some more animals. I don't know. Oh, I'm done. But lots of little things like this. Come on out of there. I've got a couple of other travel journals in here. I'm way over my time, aren't I? Way over my time. Here's the park. Here's a park. Whoops. These are all the things. This park is actually gone now. So these were all the play structures in a park down the street from us. Here, I don't know. This is Harmony, California. Population 12 or something like that. There's not very many. This was Doodle Washes, 30 days of painting or whatever. I don't know what it's called. That I did 31 days. World Watercolor Month. That was World Watercolor Month. These sketches are just wonderful. How do I like that visual journal? How do I like this visual journal? It's fine. It's Strathmore 400 series watercolor paper. If you're doing any layering on it, it's tough. If you're not, it's better. I've got some older books like this, right? My trip to Catalina, right? All the stuff I took with me, right? The deck of the Queen Mary, Long Beach skyline, right? There's the jet cat we took, Flying Fish, Old Ben. I don't know what this is. Trying to do other stuff. St. George, Utah, Calico Ghost Town, trip to Utah. There's the casino. So just some quick sketches. That's Lake Michigan there. Well, whatever. I like to try to do sketches along the way as I go someplace. I don't always broadcast them so much because they're not super great, and they're not always meant to be super great, but the act of painting, the drawing and painting them really makes them stick in your mind a whole lot better than a photo that's going to get stuffed in a drawer somewhere. Wow, I got lots of these sketch pads that have lots of stuff on them. There's some avocados. That's, yeah, lemon, sure. A boat. There's another seagull. Lots of seagulls. So lots of the stuff. Mrs. T is never so cool. You never painted your adventures. Always paint your adventures. Always, always, always. Or draw them. Try to do something. Oh my gosh. The only drawback to that is, like, you know, you saw a couple of trips of mine to Hawaii. The Catalina trip didn't bother anybody so much, but the trip to Hawaii, I really had to carve some time out to sit down and do it, which I appreciate that I could do, but it took away from finding some other adventures with the kids, and at the age they were, maybe I should have not done the drawings or the paintings, and maybe I should have just gone out and had some fun with the kids. Let's see, what else do I have back here? Another water pot. Some more. Oh, these are drawing papers down there. Oh, I've even sketched a bunch of stuff on here, but these are mostly drawings. Well, some of them were drawings. Some cement blocks. I don't know what's going on. Some eyes. Some different things. A handrail, a lamppost. That's great. Very exciting. I've got my Brusho in here. Right? If anybody doesn't know what Brusho is, these are just watercolor crystals that are, you spray them with water and the colors go crazy. Do I paint these things on my adventures as I'm doing them or after I've already done them? That's a great question. A little of both. So all the stuff at the aquarium that you saw on my trip to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, the fish, the whatever else was there, I don't know. I did those afterwards. All the stuff on my trip to Catalina, I did at the time I was there, because I was in Catalina for 3 days. I was in Long Beach for a day, in Catalina for 3 days, I think it was. And so I had the time to do it. But at the aquarium, I didn't have time to do it. So I took pictures of everything that I could take pictures of, went back home to the hotel, and started sketching them out at the hotel. I tried to get as close to the time as I could, so I sketched them out there, and I think I started some of the paintings there, but then I had to finish them when I came home. So that's a fair question. You can't always do everything. Mrs. T, my wife is very supportive of my art, which is wonderful. My wife is supportive of my art. That's true. I think it's because my wife is an actual artist herself. She actually went to art school and learned how to do all of this stuff. So she's willing to allow me to have some time to learn to do this myself. And then I've got some other palettes that are blank, that are yet to be filled. Plastic palettes, mostly down here in the bottom bin. Let's see. I don't know if these are exactly the same. I've got two of these Lowell Cornell ones. Yeah, they're both exactly the same. I've got two of these. And this one that I used to use, this was my very first palette that I had. Whoops, it's storage right now. I got a lot of half pans in here, but this was the very first palette that I ever had. And you can see it's well used. And this is neat because these come out. Ta-da! And you could have as much space as you want. And then when you close it up, it's got a little seal in here so that it seals up airtight. Lock it. Nothing will ever get out of there. And what else? Oh, and I've got a few different papers here. I got this from Amazon. I ordered, this was a mistake. This is hot press, and I thought I ordered rough paper. So I got that. And this is fluid paper, which I think I've used one sheet of this, but I bought this at the same time I bought that Grumbacher paper just to test some things out. And it's completely forgettable. I don't remember anything about this fluid paper. I'm impressed to try and document adventures in the future. You should. I got a little plates at the dollar store. I do have palettes, but I'm using spray out of tube most. You get paints and you just squeeze a little bit of paint on them. Totally fine way to do it. I know those two plastic palettes came from Walmart and cost $3 a piece or something like that when I bought them. So I was like, well, I'll get a couple of them, and I know that eventually I'll use them. And I think I'm going to end up putting my Daniel Smith paints in there. And well, that drawer is my Arches paper. I've got a few in there. I've got, looks like one sheet left in here. These are the smaller ones that I've been painting off of. I keep in this plastic. Come on, here they are. You've seen me use these. I just put them in here to keep them clean. There we go. And I've got, cold press, and I got hot press. How did I get so much hot press paper? Holy cow. I'm going to have to start to learn to like hot press paper. What do you do to make your plastic palettes not bead? You can rub some steel wool on them, or you can rub some really fine sandpaper on them, or what is this stuff? This is magic eraser, or you can scrub magic eraser on it. You can do that. Let's see, Lisa, thank you so much for your tour and of the supplies. It's almost 1 a.m. here, and you've got to go. Wow, it's 9:50 here. It's time for me to go too. So thank you, Lisa. I've got only one other thing to show. If you want to see it, it's not all that exciting. If you can hang around for another 5 minutes or so. And these are my watercolor pencils. And I've got, oh, these are watercolor. These are just colored pencils. There we go. But I've got a couple of different sets of these. This is a set of 36 Prismacolors here and 24 here. And I think, yep, they look exactly the same. And then I've got these Caran d'Ache ones. They're here. And I pull these out. If I need to do any like fine line work or something, and I have a little trouble sometimes with fine lines in a liner brush. And if I need to, I've got, wow, these ones are all, these ones are a mess. But I do have some colored pencils. I've got some other colored pencils over here. Here they are. These ones are better. These are Koh-i-Noor colored pencils. A couple are broken, but I don't use them that often. But that is about it. I've probably got an hour or so of cleanup in here now to do. I'll get to that tomorrow at some point in time. Michael, I have both. What are your thoughts on them? Wait a minute. You have both. Mrs. T, you have both. Watercolor. Oh, you have both the watercolor pencils that I mentioned, the Caran d'Ache and the Prismacolor ones. I actually like the Prismacolor ones a little bit better, I think. They just feel a little better in my hand. But I don't use them to do large areas, right? I might, if I'm going to be using hot press paper, I might have to start, right? I don't use them like colored pencils all that much to do any big area. I'll use them to do a line here and a line there. I use them a lot more like colored pencils. So I'm not the best person to ask about the watercolor pencils or the colored pencils. It's just not, it's one thing that I use, but not the way most people would use them. How do I sharpen them? I just use a regular pencil sharpener. Yep. I just use a regular old pencil sharpener and stick them in there and sharpen them right up. If I lose a little bit in sharpening them, oh well, that happens. I lose the color with a sharpener. Yeah. If you push them in too hard or they're not exactly straight when you do it, they'll crack a little bit. But honest to God, I haven't had that much trouble with that. Every now and again, one will break, but I don't try to sharpen them to like a super, super fine point. Just anything close. It's better to use a long point sharpener. Let's see. Yes, I have a long. Do I have one here? I don't have a long point sharpener here. I have one at my office at work that I use. And I have these nifty things, which I showed one of before. This is a hero. That's all it says on it. but it's this is a liner pen for masking fluid. There's a little bit of that. It's a little fun. They were super cheap. I got 3 of them for $7 or something like that. And I think they work great. I sharpened mine with a regular sharpener, but I turned the sharpener, not the pencil. Oh, that's interesting. That might be a good way to do it. Let's see, I've got that, I've got this. And I've got Dorland's wax and ox gall, and that's about the end of everything I have for watercolor painting in there. I've heard it puts a lot of does that help save loss of color? I turn the sharpener yeah, okay. So I got this ox gall, and it's supposed to make your water wetter, increase the flow of your paints on your paper. And I keep threatening to pull this out and do a test with it, but the problem is when I do tests with this to try and figure out what it doesn't seem to make much of any difference to me. So I haven't found a use for it. And I've got some Dorland's wax medium here. As you can see, Dorland's wax medium. Maybe I'll hold it up here. Oh, it's backwards. Oh, that's interesting. And this is great. It just puts a fine layer of wax. How does this work? Because my masking fluid clumps. Alan, I'll answer that in 1 second. You just rub this on your painting. I had one over here that had some on it. I don't see it. I got stacks of painting over there. But you rub this on it. Just clean your hand real well. Put them in here. You can put it on a little cloth and just rub it on there. And it puts a really thin layer of this wax on your painting. And it's supposed to give it some additional UV protection. I don't know. I think it's worked. Although the painting that I put it on hasn't seen the light of day in quite a while. But the wax hasn't melted and gotten on anything else. But anyway, it's an interesting thing. Alan, your question is about this. How does this work? So I'll tell you, it works just like a fountain pen. Come on out. Right, it's got a little gap in there, and you twiddle with the knob and it makes the gap wider or smaller, right, depending upon the width of the line that you want to draw. You dip this in your masking fluid, and then you hold it on its side and pull it like this, and it puts down a very fine line, well, a fine line if that's what you want, or a thicker line if that's what you want, of your masking fluid. The tricky thing with this is, I read a bunch of reviews on these, not on this one specifically, but they're all very similar. And people were having a lot of trouble with them. They weren't working. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. And then I read one that said, well, you've got to make sure your masking fluid is thin, that there's no bumps in it or anything like that. So I opened mine up right away and looked at it. And it had rubber caked on the top and looked terrible. So I actually gave mine a giant shake. Just a huge shake to try and mix everything in there. It had all kinds of bubbles and everything in the masking fluid. I dipped this in there, and the act of dipping this in and drawing with it on the paper took all the bubbles out of it, but it was mixed smoothly and evenly, and it worked great. I tried to replicate that later by just taking the top off of the masking fluid, putting this in and drawing a line, and it didn't work. So, contrary to what everybody says, You know, everybody says you shouldn't shake your masking fluid. You're going to get bubbles. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. For me, with these, I got nice, beautiful thin lines with these, exactly what I wanted, but I had to shake my masking fluid first. So that's how it works for me. Let's see. How do those work? Use my masking fluid clumps. Yeah, yep. I'll just shake it up, and I think it'll break some of that up. Broken inside, it will lose some of it, eventually sharpen. Okay, you guys are still talking about. Okay, so, Nathan says sometimes I add alcohol to my water, and it makes my colors flow and blend a bit easier. I think it has something to do with the pH of your water. Everybody says that'll happen, and I've taken, you know, my water bucket here. This is the size of it, and I've put 5, 10, 20 drops in there. No difference. I've used half that amount of water, put 5, 10, 20 drops. No difference. I just can't seem to see what the difference is. Who says they like my cowboy hat? Alan, you like my cowboy hats? I've had my cowboy hats for a long time. I love my cowboy hats. I wear my, this is my summer hat here. That one's my winter hat. And out in the shed out there, I've got my working hat. And my working hat is kind of looking a little dirty and not so nice right now. Okay, I think that's about all. I want to go through to show all of you guys the studio today. Can we thin masking fluid? Mine is a few years old and pretty thick. Mrs. T, I don't know. Mine is, let's see, this is 20, well, what year are we in? 2020? Oh yeah, I don't even know. And I bought mine in 2001. And I still have most of it. Here's mine from 2001. It's Windsor and Newton. And honest to God, I just give mine a really good shake. And I don't worry about it too much. After a minute, most of those bubbles are going to settle out, and then, like I said, I dip that pen in there and use it, and it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know if yours has had the top loose or something, and it's dried up the liquid. Masking fluid, I don't know what's in it as a liquid. And I think that's about all. I think it's about all I got. The only other thing I've got is my ukulele over here. I was going to pick it up and strum it, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Maybe another time. Okay. 2 hours. Wow, 2 hours. I really thought we were going to get into testing some of the other colors and looking at what some of the papers were like with different colors and that kind of stuff. 2 hours went by. Yeah, that was fun. It went by really fast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. We'll pull out all those paints and we'll pull out some different papers, and we'll see how some paints react on some papers, or we'll do something different, or we'll see how all of the brushes go. So I don't know, but I thought I had enough questions about everything in the studio here. I thought everybody would like to see a little bit about it. 2 hours flew by, and I think that's enough for us now. We didn't even get into the books. We didn't get into the easy trade. There's still a whole bunch of stuff over here that we didn't get into. Oh, but 2 hours I think is enough. We'll see you back here. I'll put in Discord. The Discord channel, I think it's still down below. Maybe not. If it's not, email me or send me a message somewhere here, Instagram, Twitter, somehow. Send me a message if you need a link to the Discord channel. I'll put something up there next week, part 2. I don't think next week part 2. I don't think I'm ready for next week part 2. Next week we'll go back and do a regular painting. Tomorrow morning I will be on Twitch finishing up. I'm going to do a little shameless self-promotion. I'm going to be finishing up this painting. I think I'll do this tomorrow morning on Twitch. Anybody who wants to tune in can see me over there. Next week, I'll be back here for another painting on YouTube. And we're back to only YouTube here on YouTube. Just that. No Twitch, no simulcast anymore. We're done with that. Links down below to my website, my Etsy store. I hope it's got something. If you want to buy me a coffee to help keep me going, link down below. Something, I don't know what else is down there. Should be links to Instagram and Twitter down there if you don't have those already. And with that, I am going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. We will catch you next week. Bye-bye.